I just kept reading the scripts and going, God, Kristen would be so good in this. And I remember one night at dinner sort of making the decision on who I was going to offer the role to, and just went on the internet and said, I just want to look at pictures of Kristen. And I just was looking at them. I got so nostalgic for her because we had so much fun on Bridesmaids, and she's so funny. She's really one of the funniest people. She makes me laugh harder than most people in the world. I'd already brought Melissa on at that point, and I called her up and said, like, I'm thinking of casting Kristen, and Melissa said, nothing would make me happier than if you could get us back together again. And so that kind of chemistry and that kind of, joy, you can't not play into that. Kate had been shining on SNL. She hadn't really gotten to shine in any sort of a major role in a film. And there's something about her that's so charismatic. I was like, she's a movie star. And so that was a real easy decision to put her in this. She has this giant personality, but it's sincere. And it's because she loves so much and she feels so much and she's so passionate. And it's just like, she can just completely shine in this Patty Tolan role because it's the outsider coming in. She's seeing all this weird stuff for the first time. She's sort of the common sense one of like, have you guys tested this before? And so it just felt like comedically that would be the greatest showcase for her because that's all I care about is I want to cast the funniest people I know and then what role can I put them in where they will just shine? I think people are funniest when they're themselves. And if you've met Chris, he's naturally a funny guy. And thought, if I was going to have him do an accent, he'd be thinking about the accent too much and he wouldn't be able to be at his full powers. And so letting him play Australian just really put him at ease and he could just be himself and he plays it so real, even though he's playing, incredibly dumb and these ridiculous things he's saying. That's all I ever ask of an actor. Is I always say, you can get away with anything if you sell it like that is exactly who you are. That's what you believe. That is legitimately coming out of you. Then you can, be as big or as small or as dumb or as goofy as you want. Katie and I are very good writers. We know comedy. We've been doing it our whole lives. But at the same time, we're not living, breathing versions of these characters. And when I get cast these funniest, most inventive people in the world, I put them in this character, they're going to immediately know that character better than I do. And all I can do is then go like, oh, try this. And I now, as an outsider, go like, oh, I see what's funny. When you guys have this dynamic, there's something really great about that. Play on that, within the context of the scene. You know what you need out of the scene. We know we need to go from point A to point B. But however we get from point A to point B, that's where the fun can happen. I'm the worst offender of ruining takes by laughing. I'm just, I wouldn't say I'm an easy target because I don't laugh at much, but when I have the funniest people on the planet sitting in front of my cameras doing funny stuff, it just destroys me. And again, these are people I've hired because they make me cry with laughter, so I'm constantly laughing. And getting yelled at by the actors. Like, Melissa's always like, Paul, I can hear you laughing. Like, I'm sorry, I thought I was trying to control it. I thought maybe you wouldn't hear me. She's like, you're sitting right there. You're literally sitting 5 feet away from me. So I get thrown off the settle. My video village always seems to move further and further away. It started just going like, I just want the funniest people possible because the original movie worked mostly because it had these funny 4 guys in it, and the supporting cast was so funny. And that's what gave it its strength. And so for me, I go like, well, Ghostbusters, that's what it's got to be. It's got to be the 4 funniest people. The 4 funniest people I happen to know are these women. To see young girls, 5, 6, 7 years old, making with their parents their modern day Ghostbusters costume and putting on their modern day proton pack and just striking these poses and looking fierce and looking so cool. And you just go like, oh my God, this is so empowering for this next generation to be able to do this. I've never met a mean Ghostbuster in my life. These people that show up in these costumes and they go to hospitals, they go to kids' hospitals, they do events, they do reading events, they raise money for charity. It's the most wonderful community you've ever met in your life. And to keep that going and to bring that to a new generation who can follow the example of the ghost heads who have come before and become their own ghost heads and let those ghost heads carry on that tradition, and then they carry on their own tradition of this new movie and the characters of this new movie, but all under the umbrella of this amazing thing that Dan and Harold and Ivan and Bill and Ernie created. You know, that's a special thing, and you never want that to go away, and you just want that to get stronger and stronger.